We're coming to the end of May and we can't deny that the Pokemon market is booming right now. So today we take a look at TCG Player and the biggest movers over the past couple of months or so, because some things have been going crazy. We'll be looking at the Sword and Shield era and we're going to be looking at the Scarlet and Violet era. So let's jump into it. All right, so today we're taking a look at the single market. We're going to look at different updates of different cards. We've been looking every single month, at the end of every month, at a bunch of different cards in like Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. Now I'm not going to cover a lot in Sword and Shield, mainly because pretty much all the cards are going up in value. There's very, very small amount of cards that's actually dropping. But whereas big movements are happening in the Scarlet and Violet era, there's some big climbers and there are some that have taken a tumble, even some big fan favorites. So let's jump in to the first one. Alright, first off, we've got an interesting one. We've got the Venusaur from the Pokemon Classic Collection Box. Now, this was the huge collection box, special limited edition collection box that nobody bought because it was just super duper expensive. It's a cool collection piece, but it's not really worth it, right? And you do get like some OG printed cards, which, you know, it's just full of nostalgia, and that's kind of what Pokemon have been doing with like 151 and a bunch of other products. But this one kind of fell flat, right? I think this one came out around $400. Then you can pick it up for like $250, something like that. So you can pick up the actual product itself much less than what the retail price was. Now, the single cards in that product have also been falling. You get a lot of decks. It's a bit more of a collector slash player thing. If I was going to buy it, I would keep it sealed. But this is a Venusaur. This is one of the cards you get. Charizard is actually holding some more value, but we're going to look at the Venusaur first. This one has fallen quite a bit, to be fair. It was about $60, and as you can see now, it's about $23. I worked out that the average value of this box is not even worth the $250 that it's currently going for, let alone the $400. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But it is the OG classic Venusaur. I still have never had a holo Venusaur, like a base set holo Venusaur. I think that is one thing I would just always would love to have in my collection. It was the only card I missed from having a master set base set when I was a child. And now I want to go back and do it. Not through this way. I'll probably actually try and get an actual base set Venusaur holo, but nonetheless, this is one that is falling. And the Blastoise from the same product is also falling. This one at $21 from as high as $122. It goes to show how little hype there is for this product. No one really cares. It's an interesting one. So many people are like, Jay, should I buy it? Should I buy it? Personally, I wouldn't. I mean, I'll just go and get the individual cards, especially if you want the OG3. I think the Charizard is like $100 or something like that. And even so, you can pick up all three for $100 less than the actual product. It's just crazy. Right, we're moving into Scarlet and Violet. We're going to look at some climbers. Let's have a look at some ones that are actually going up in price. We've got Paldea Evolved. As we know, the Magikarp has been doing very well recently. A lot of the other cards have been moving upwards as well. Iono's kind of stayed steady, but my boy Titar, he's doing good. Normal illustration rare. We've been seeing this actually. There's a trend going on at the moment where a lot of the illustration rares, regular illustration rares from these sets have been doing insanely well. I mean, Magikarp is a prime example, but Titar's the same. $38 over the past 3 months. This card was around $17, so this has doubled in price in 3 months. We go back a year from when the card first came out. It was, you know, around $30, and now it's the highest it's been since its release. This is incredible. Beautiful card. It kind of gives me like Godzilla type vibes, which I absolutely love, and it's my boy Titar. You can't go wrong, my boy Titar. But yeah, doing very well from Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved booster boxes are on the uptick. You're looking at like 120 plus a box, 130 a box, with taxes and shipping. Over here in the UK though, things are still relatively cheap. I mean, you can pick up Tyranitar for around 20, 25 depending on condition, and Paldea booster boxes over here you can still pick up for like 100, 105, so pretty good. Right, we're gonna look at a card that is falling. It is the Gold Charizard EX from Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames has had a bit of a rough one. You know, when the set came out, I was like, is it going to be a Darkness Ablaze 2.0? And it's not, but it kind of is at the same time. The biggest hit in the set is still the big SIR Charizard. That's sitting around about $44, roughly $45. And the gold one, which is the next expensive card in the set at only $18, is pretty rough. Over the past 3 months, we've seen this card go from $23 down to $18. We go back since the set came out, and it was at $40. And now it's at 18, so it's dropped more than 50% from release. Even though Obsidian Flames booster boxes are actually going up, the problem with Obsidian Flames is the pull rates are quite easy to get some of these top end cards because it's kind of a small set, so it is quite easy. So that's actually quite interesting, but has dropped more than 50%. Ouch. All right, another big climber, Paradox Rift, Groudon. Absolutely love this card. beautiful cards. This is the second most expensive card now in Paradox Rift, just behind the Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon's only 55. Groudon could overtake the Roaring Moon. $50, this card's doing bits. It's an amazing artwork. Similar to my boy Tita, Groudon, it's doing alright. You know, it to me, it looks like Godzilla. Again, it looks like a really epic Godzilla artwork. So we're looking at $22 was this lowest point over the past 3 months. And we're now looking at 48. So more than double in value over the past year. It came out strong at $40. And then, yeah, look, it dropped as lowest at 22. And that's the highest it's ever been. And it might continue to climb. Paradox Rift has, you know, okay-ish pull rates. It's got some beautiful artwork in it. Beautiful artwork. But I'm talking again, these illustration rares, not the special illustration, just the normal illustration rares are doing so well. And it's probably because the pool is quite large for illustration rares. So to get a specific one is a lot harder than maybe getting a specific special illustration rare. But yeah, it's quite crazy. I mean, we've pulled the Roaring Moon, but we've never pulled this Groudon before, which is actually quite interesting. But yeah, $50, more than doubled in value over the past 3 months. Doing very well. All right, we're going to 151. Prices are falling. Bearing in mind, sealed product is going up pretty much across the board for 151. I mean, you can pick up a 151 booster pack. It's like over £7 here. You're looking at over like $7. It is getting more and more expensive. Is there a reprint going to come? I don't know. It's one of these things where you would think it would, but we'll have to wait and see. Charmander is falling. Like I said, a bunch of the other cards in the set have been falling. There have been some which have just stagnated. They just haven't moved. You know, talking about the special illustration rares, pretty much all of the top end special illustration rares have just stayed exactly where they are. They haven't gone up, they haven't gone down. They've pretty much stayed level. Whereas some of the illustration rares, some of them have gone up, some of them have gone down. I mean, Squirrel's gone up a little bit, Charmander's dropped, Bulbasaur's dropped, you know, Charmeleon's dropped, Wartortle's dropped. Like, a lot of the illustration rares have been falling in price, and the Charmander is a prime example, okay? So they had the highest point at $36, and now we're looking at 23. It's dropped about not quite 50%, but it's on that down tick. Look at that, you know, 33 down to 23. Lost $10 in value. That's a hefty chunk to lose for this card. I mean, such a big card as well. Everybody loves it, and this is the strange thing. 151, like I say, still products going up. Single cards are staying exactly the same, if not going down. If a reprint happens, this set is going to take an absolute pounding. So, especially for the single card prices. So, you kind of got to be careful moving forward. But right now, a lot of the cards are relatively, I say cheap, but they're pretty decent price. You know, which is actually quite good. So, especially packs again more expensive. The pull rates aren't the best in this set. Sometimes it might be good just to get the cards. Next, we have the Iron Crown Artificial Hype going down. We're looking at $56. This is an interesting story, right? Because the pre-order price was quite low on this card at around $48, $49. You know, we looked at, you know, Twilight Masquerade pre-order prices, Greninja 150, highest card. This set was like $50, right? And then it doubled in price, and it was like, oh, everyone on the Iron Crown, it's going crazy. If you bought in at 100, the sting, because we're looking at $56. It's nearly back to where it was when it first came out. It's a beautiful card, and Temporal Forces has really tough pull rates. The downside is, I think that there was a lot of hype, you know, around this card, around Morty's Conviction, and it definitely was manipulated, to be fair. I mean, we can see it happen. You know, evidence is right here. Got to be careful with a lot of these cards. There's some shady stuff going on, especially when it comes to the TCG player. Of course, we look on eBay, Facebook, other places like that, things will be a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, it has fallen. I expect it to continue to fall. There's a lot of Temporal Forces around at the moment. It's still relatively new. Hey, it's going to continue to fall. Whereas something that's not falling from Temporal Forces is Long Neck Boy. Raging Bolt is doing incredibly well. This one, again, to me, looks a bit sketchy. Because we look at the price of this over the past 3 months. So it came out at 50. Well, actually, it came out at 55. Dropped to 50. There was a lot of hype, and loads of the cards went up in value and went up to 80. And then people were like, oh, yeah, hype, whatever. Went back down to its lowest at 50. And then in the past month, right, this is where we can see the price jump up. In the past month, $49 to now $90. Nearly doubled already, and it's now the most expensive card in the set. It kind of feels like a little bit of manipulation, as we've already talked about when we saw with the Iron Crown. I think you got to be careful with some of this stuff. I mean, Raging Ball over here, you could pick up for like 50, 45, 50. It's relatively cheap. So I don't understand why it's going absolutely crazy. Caution, I would say, for this one. But, you know, because there's not really much available on TCG Player. You've got to look at eBay and other places. Yeah, crazy. But I do feel like it'll probably fall. Alright, and then finally we're going to look at a slew of cards from Sword and Shield, mainly from Crown Zenith, because things went a little bit crazy with Crown Zenith over the past couple of weeks. And I just want to touch upon that in this video. So I did a video recently, maybe 2 weeks ago now, talking about how good Crown Zenith is, and I expect it to start doing very well because everybody loves the set. Crown Zenith is now starting to dry up. So the sealed product is going to be hard to get hold of over here in the UK anyway. Can't really get any more from distribution. I don't know if that's the same in the US, probably. So what's out there is out there now of Crown Zenith. There's still a lot of it out there, but what's out there is out there. We started to see a bit of a boom some of the chase cards. And we've seen this trend a lot with a lot of the Sword and Shield. So Guillotine, $134 over the past 3 months. It was plodding along 70, 80 for the longest time. I mean, we go back a year. This card was $100, and then it's just been sat nearly low as 67, and it's 134. So it's actually doubled in value. In the past, what, 5-6 months? That's actually insane. There we go. Yeah, we can see that there. 68, bang. So yeah, that's the Giratina doing pretty well. Then we look at the Arceus. That's also doing incredibly well. Pretty much all of the gold cards in this set are doing very well. And not only the gold cards, the Suicune's gone up, Entei's gone up, Raiku's gone up, Glaceon, Leafeon, Mewtwo. Pretty much all the big chase cards have been going up in this set. Looking at $100 for the Arceus over the past 6 months. Was sat quite comfortably around 50, 55 for literally the longest time. We go back a year, you know, hasn't really done much, right? Kept going down pretty much. And then over the past 3 months, well, I wouldn't even say 3 months. I'd say 1 month probably. Yeah, so over the past 1 month, lowest 57, right? So we're looking at 57 the end of April. And then in May, it's nearly doubled in value. Again, is this a lot of hype? I think so. Over here, you can pick this up. I mean, Giratina you can pick up over here for like 70, 80. Arceus, 50, 60. It seems a bit strange. Gotta be careful. Take a look at eBay and other places. But yeah, something going on there. Then we've got the Palkia coming in. Palkia is actually one of my favorites. The Arceus is my favorite one, but this one's nice as well. $63. Again, this one didn't really do much for the longest time, right? It was sat around 30. It was on the uptick to close to 40. Then literally the past month, it was like 38, 39. And now we're looking at nearly double in price again. Sketchy, fishy, not really much around. So you got to be careful with a lot of this hype. And then the Dialga as well at 62. Basically the same story over the past month. We looked at this card being at $43 to be 62. So it hasn't really jumped up as much, jumped up by about 50%. You got to be careful, guys, with a lot of these cards, especially when it comes to TCG Player. Did some videos recently looking at different market prices. And TCG Player over the past maybe month or two has been very, very questionable. There you have it, guys. Those are just some cards that are climbing, some cards that are falling. Of course, I can't cover everything, but those are just some examples of what's been going on over the past month or so with a lot of these cards. Now, with Scarlet and Violet, I feel like it's a little bit more interesting to see some of these cards start to grow, like the Groudon, the Tyranitar doing pretty well. But then when you look at things like the Charmander from 151, you know, that's falling along with all the other illustration rares and special illustration rares in the set. The sealed products going up. So hopefully, I hope there's a reprint just so we can open more packs 151. But it will drop the value of the cards probably by a fair bit depending on the size of the reprint and when it comes. Crown Zenith, pretty much out of print. It's now on the uptick along with all the other Sword and Shield. Kind of obvious. And then you've got to be careful. A lot of TCG player manipulation going on. 100%. You can see it. We saw it with the Iron Crown. Now you've seen it with the Raging Bolt. I think we're going to start to see it with a lot of the other maybe big chase cards. We might see something happen in Twilight Masquerade. Who knows? But you've got to be careful when buying a lot of these cards. Shop around. Have a look around. eBay, Facebook, other places as well. And just see what the prices are like. And if you made this far into the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about these cards. Is there any foul play going on? Hey, look, there's some big climbers. I'm happy to see my boy T-Tar doing well. I don't have it in my collection. I need to get it. I need my boy T-Tar. There are some amazing cards. And Groudon could be the most expensive in Paradox Rift. Really interesting. But if you want to know how I ranked every single OR in Pokemon Sword and Shield, then make sure to click the video on screen. And if you want more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's it from me in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.